Hi, everyone. It's the Lovewell Real Estate Team, and we're here today to do our monthly market update. You have Louise Lovewell and Katie Lovewell and myself, Margaret Hanson. And lovely Katie is going to take us through the numbers and share her screen.
Yes, these are the numbers we pull up from our local real estate association, Bay East. And these are some of the cities in Alameda County. They're not all, but you can always go on their website to look at other cities in case you want to see their information. So we're going to start in the south part of Alameda County, Fremont, which is interesting because it's what we're going to see is that many cities are doing their own thing, or there may be some patterns between a few cities, but Fremont is definitely unique in that there has been a huge upswing in prices in the past month. I think a lot of cities, and maybe it's relation to Silicon Valley, but a lot of cities, or I think people, buyers in general, are just feeling maybe a little bit more uncertain with the economy, and so we're just seeing, usually what we see is in the spring, or like starting in January, we see prices just continually go up. There's usually a big demand until we get into the summer, and then things kind of go up and down and throughout the rest of the year. But this year has been different, and we see much more upswings, like a lot of upswings, and depending on the city. Some have only one, some have multiple. But you can see Fremont definitely had a big upswing in March, but came back down, but now it's on its way back up. And a big part of that, when you look down here in the middle section, they show how many homes are active at the end of the month and how many homes are pending. And you can see there's been some big fluctuations between April, it was 57 for pending, May 87, June 49, July 82. So definitely big upswings in like the demand. So moving on to Hayward. Very different because we saw in Fremont there was a big uptick in March. Hayward seemed to be doing the opposite. It did have a slight uptick in June, but seems to be heading back down. Pendings are not like inventory is definitely higher. I mean, it's been about the same for the past few months, but we don't see pendings really increasing along with those actives. So that is Hayward. San Leandro, again, makes kind of a big uptick in prices in April, but then it came back down, haven't quite turned around like Fremont. And we can see inventory has definitely been very consistent in the last few months with actives and pendings about the same, but no big fluctuations with those numbers. Castro Valley, similar, although like a more gradual decline than San Leandro. And again, doesn't seem to be changing direction just yet with prices. And inventory is overall, I mean, definitely come down with the actives from June to July from 77 to 62, but pendings are about the same. And Alameda, definitely see more of like the roller coaster, like up in price in February and then down like March, April, then back up in May and back down in June and starting to seem like it's going back up. So definitely more exciting over there. It's hard to predict for sellers, for buyers, what's going on with the market. And I think just really watching the homes that are sitting or watching what's going around you, your competition. So inventory has come down. I mean, it was highest, I think, in May at 48. Then it went to 38 in June and 33 at the end of July. Pendings have been fairly consistent, a little bit of uptick at the end of July. But so maybe we'll see prices continue that little gradual change upward. Oakland, big. It seems like the prices spiked like between February and March, and they've come back down. But then like Alameda, there was a little bit of a wave in May, June, but coming back down, although not as big as in February. And inventory is down for actives from 521 to 460, but pendings increased. So probably some of the actives went pending from 140 to 163. Berkeley, again, it's different. So no, spikes in February, but just a gradual uptick, which is usually more typical what we see for the Bay Area, but just a pretty steady uptick until we got into May, and then it came back down in June, and now things seem like they might be going back up. And there was huge inventory numbers for active homes in terms of April went up to 110, but now it's back down to 61 at the end of July. And pendings also really increased from April to May from 34 to 60. but they're back down at 36 at the end of June, 27 the end of July. Jumping over to Lafayette, um, they interestingly and had their peak in prices within January, which is interesting because most of those homes went pending, not all of them, but in December likely. Then they came down and they went back up, and they've been pretty up, not any great decreases in prices. And their inventory it seemed like it also had a peak in April and May, down just a little bit. The actives are currently at 43, and pendings have gone up to 27. So I think even though they're very, like, historically, we can see, at least for the past year, high in prices, with pendings going up and inventory going down, seems like they may continue on that trend. So for buyers, may not be a great time to be looking in Lafayette, but sellers, it's definitely good. Okay, and moving back down to Pleasanton, definitely more roller coaster, up in January, down in February, up in March, down in April, May, back little peak in June, back down in July. And overall, we can see their numbers for their active, they really went up high to 108 at the end of April, 119 May, 103 in June. They're down a little bit to 99, but we haven't seen a big uptick in their pending. So I think we're going to keep seeing, unlike Lafayette, just going up. Pleasanton, I expect those prices are going to keep going down. And then moving just a little bit more east, we'll go to Livermore. And Livermore has the most ups and downs of any of the cities, the most exciting roller coaster of ups and downs. But there, as you can see in the actives, their inventory is still high. I mean, especially like when we look down at, in December, they were 19 and they're at 114 right now. Pendings have it's a little similar to Fremont, little like fluctuation of going up and down, but not as extreme as Fremont. So yeah, the market is just it's a little bit depending on the city doing different things. And I guess for buyers and sellers, just being aware of your city and what the trends are, and really watching and being okay, because as you can see, a house could sell for a lot more only a month ago. And if buyers are pulling back because they're uncertain about the economy, or just the prices have gone up too high again, like there's just these big, not every city, but definitely, some cities we see big pullbacks and changes and pendings and whatnot. So just being aware and don't getting attached, because the market seems to, in some places can swing very fast one way or very fast the other. It's definitely a little bit of a more wild market, but people are still buying and selling homes. So, ladies, I talked a lot. Would you like to add anything?
I guess what I could add is like what I saw what happened on our house in Hayward. We had a house in Hayward. There was a nice house in the Hayward Hills. What did we have, Katie? Three or four offers? Three
Yeah,
offers.
four
Yeah,
offers, yeah.
four offers. And the nice thing for them is they were able to get the four offers, and then they in turn went and bought in, I want to say Rancho Cordova, I think. And they were able to negotiate with that builder. And I think, if I remember what Michael told us, that I don't know if they were able to negotiate, I don't know if it was like 100,000 off the asking price. They asked for concessions, and so the good thing is when you sell, I think you can still sell at a good price and be like, okay, but when you go to buy, whether it's a new house or an older house, I think, especially if they can find things, I always tell people to find homes that have been on the market for a while, because that buyer or that seller could be having two payments, has to remove for whatever reason. And I'm going, it's kind of like, what do I call it? Like the perfect storm, that for a buyer, if you're selling and then buying, you're going to be able to buy really well. So it's like, because there's inventory. I mean, you saw just about every city, even though some of the inventory has gone down, there's still a lot of choices. I mean, people have choices. So if you can find the neighborhood you want, the school that you want, the commute that you want, whatever it is that you're looking for, you have choices, and you can negotiate. And I don't know, I've seen on some of the listings where they're advertising termite clearances. I mean, people, I think the buyers want to buy things that are looking good. And if it's not looking good, or if it's got repairs and issues, they're not going to be interested. But if the house is fixed up, work issues are taken care of, they're going to be more interested. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think Katie, you showed us that it has been a major roller coaster and no like clear pattern across all the cities. But we were talking a little bit about interest rates, which are pretty good, much better than my interest rate. So if you're getting a mortgage like today, you're looking at below 6.5%. So we have kind of chalked all this tumultuous behavior up to the economy and people probably being a little bit nervous, not knowing what's going on. And I'm just hoping that these lower interest rates are going to give buyers confidence to just say, okay, there is a lot of inventory. There's some good houses on the market, and these rates are really good. And so let's go ahead and buy now. And I think that that could possibly kind of like steady things out a little bit. So that's my hope.
Plus, I sort of forgot I'm back onto the interest rate. I remember there was that article from Casey, the loan gal, that said with what is it, the 2-1 buy down, if the interest rates were like at 6, I think last week, I don't know, they were like at 6.25, you could do it buy down like the first year for like 4.25, which, that could make the difference for somebody. So, and that's what some sellers are offering people. Instead of doing a price adjustment, they'll say, hey, if you offer our price, we'll give you a concession or we'll help pay, your buy down so that that first year, 4.25 or 4.5, that's a pretty good interest rate for that first year. Especially if you find the house that you want at the price that you want, not bad.
Yeah, so it is kind of an idea, right, for buyers to maybe be even negotiating that into their offer. If something is sitting and there's not too much competition, that's a great idea because those buy downs seem pretty good right now.
Yeah, I definitely recommend buyers talk to your loan agent, learn more about these options. And then, of course, you have to find a willing seller. But I think, especially for homes that are sitting in the market, I think sellers would be open to it.
Right, because what I always tell buyers, to me, the perfect storm to buy is between now and like the middle of January. Because once the kids go to school and people are thinking about the holidays, there seems to be a little bit less competition. So it's like for buyer, I think it's like the perfect time to do it. And the interest rates are a little bit down. And if you do these special programs, 2-1 buy down or whatever, that's good. Doesn't get much better. I mean, and I think buyers feel better when they know that they can buy and they have choices, and especially if the house has been fixed up or has either a termite clearance and a roof clearance, and I mean, think about it, a roof thing is a big thing because the insurance is a big to do. So it's like, if you don't have to worry about that, that's a much better thing. So I haven't heard any more about insurance. I guess we'll have to check into that in another month or so, but hopefully that's getting better. So that's the story. I don't know, other than it's happy going back to school, happy the middle of August time. It's like, I don't know, I guess summer is slowly coming to an end.
Yeah, and happy Labor Day coming up, right? Because we won't see you guys until after Labor Day. So
Yep.
have a good holiday.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.